Hi, I'm Louise Krikorian, and this is Shaping Our Story, where I talk with exemplary leaders about their passion, purpose, and perseverance to encourage you to thrive. Today, our guest, Adam Connors, is founder and CEO of NetWorkWise in Hoboken, New Jersey, where he specializes in teaching people how to strengthen meaningful connections to build successful businesses. He has studied psychology so he can help others believe that relationships are the highest return on investment in life and in business. Well, thank you so much, Adam Connors, for meeting with me today.
It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I was just so excited that our mutual friend, Nancy May, got us in touch. So I really do appreciate your time. And I was looking more into your company. You're the founder and the CEO of NetworkWise, where you are, you're the professional trainer. You're an intentional networker. I hope you don't mind that I added that. You do keynote speaking, group coaching, seminars, and workshops. So of all of those, what would you say is your passion or greatest interest?
Oh, well, I would say that there's a common thread amongst them all. And I would say that it's people. I find people absolutely fascinating, Louise. The way they tick, right? Their psychology, how it affects them. Everyone's got a story. And I find that super interesting. And when you understand people, I think you could connect on a deeper level. And when you can connect with people on a deeper level, the world's your oyster.
So if that's your passion, then what would you say would be your purpose?
Whoa. It's so interesting that you say that. I could go in a lot of different directions on purpose, but at the end of the day, I would say that my purpose is to really help people expedite outcomes in their life or lives, I should say, by understanding other people.
Interesting. So in doing that and understanding other people and networking with other people, what would you say was your biggest professional failure and what did you learn from it?
Well, see that's always an interesting question, right? Like, I mean, first of all, I haven't had one. I've had many. So I don't know if I could I don't know if there's one in particular that I could kind of like pinpoint. But then again, I could also say, well, maybe I haven't had any because there's really no such thing as failing, right? You're winning or you're learning. And as an entrepreneur, or I guess even just doing anything, you have to learn to fail, right?
Mm.
But I would say it's the greatest risks, though, are those that you don't take. So is that failing? I don't know. This could be a philosophical question that we go around the horn on.
So I think in essence what you're saying, and this is just my takeaway from that, is that even if you do have something that isn't working out right, you can learn from it. So then it's not really a failure because you're learning from it. So it's sort of
Well,
like what I would call a teachable moment.
and I've had a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's
Uh,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
But
I go
I,
ahead.
I was I was just going to say, to me, failure it's almost like in sales they say no is like next opportunity, right? So I kind of feel
Hmm.
like that's what's happening here when you've quote unquote failed.
Right. Okay. So I have heard you say we can control our habits to build world-class relationships. So I was wondering if you do this because it comes easy to you or does it come naturally?
I would say so. So I love, by the way, how prepared you are. It's just such a breath of fresh air. So thank you for that. Um, I would say it probably comes maybe a little more natural to me than most, but as a rule of thumb, there you got to learn. It's a skill and it's a muscle, just like going to the gym, maybe, someone goes to the gym and they can curl, a little more than most people, but if you really want to get strong, you got to get in the gym every day. And you,
Mm-hmm.
you got to work out every day and you got to work at it. And if you don't, it atrophies, right? You don't work the muscles, it atrophies. The same thing with like learning these things and also just the relationships themselves. It takes work. And, again, it's called networking, not net funning, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I do enjoy it, but there's an element of elbow grease that goes into that. And I again, am I a little more inclined than others? Probably, but it was something that I read, I studied people. It was something that I've thrown my life into. So I've gotten good at it. There's something called the 100-hour rule. You do 100 hours of
Mm-hmm.
something, and you're better than 95% of most people that do it on the regular. So I've probably put a little more than 100 hours in.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's my long, long, long way of saying anybody can do
It sounds like you don't give up easily when things get hard.
it. That is an understatement, and it's probably one of my greatest strengths and weaknesses. Um,
Mm,
Sometimes you need to know, when to cut your losses, right? I forgot the,
it's
the
true.
finance term for that,
Yeah.
but I have a thing that I keep right on you can't see it because it's like right on my desk, but it says successful people begin their days where others end in failure, right?
Can you say that
So
again? Say that again.
successful people begin their days where others end in failure. So I look at that
Hmm.
all day long. I'm looking at it as I'm looking at you. I see it right here, right under. I see that every day. I also have something that says one more. So every day before I'm going to shut down, whatever it is that I'm going to do, I've got to do one more, whether it's one more phone call, whether
Right.
it's one more email, whether it's preparing for one more keynote, whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
one more. And that compounds, that one more, it builds. It's almost like a piñata, you know.
Right.
With a piñata, you just can't hit it once and all the candy comes out.
Right.
You hit it, you hit it, you hit
Right.
it, and eventually the candy comes out.
Yeah. So, what keeps you inspired?
Life, right? Like, the beauty of being human is we're constantly, we're adaptive, we're growing, we're learning, we're building. So,
Right.
a conversation like this inspires me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've inspired me. You've done your homework, you've prepared. I can't begin to tell you how often I'll get on a show and they're scrambling beforehand. So I'm
Oh,
inspired by you right now.
thank you. So, what are you hoping to do next?
That's a good question. I think I'm too early in this venture or this stage to be able to say, hey, in X amount of years, this is what I'm going to do. Right now I'm just thoroughly enjoying, building NetworkWise. I've brought on a partner. I think it's probably, the title of CEO should probably belong to him at this point. Yeah,
Wow.
he's just got to, that's also the beauty of relationships too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You find a lane and, you double down on your strengths and you surround yourself with those that support your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I got a lot of weaknesses, and thank goodness that he's there to fill those voids. And as we're building this, we'll figure out. I could probably revisit this question in a year. So I'm sorry to not be able
Okay.
to give you a specific answer, but that's where
Mm-hmm.
I am today.
Good. So it sounds like you're definitely ready to help other people start on their journey. What's one piece of advice that you would give someone who's just starting out?
One piece.
Hmm. The best.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The best. The best of the best. The
The
one piece
best.
of advice.
You can't do it alone, right?
Mm.
Just like I'm just saying right here, like you just can't do it alone.
Hmm.
It takes a tribe, or what's the saying? It takes a village,
Village.
right?
Right.
Yeah, it takes a village. It doesn't matter how
Okay.
good you are at something, you're going to need people.
Right.
Whether if you're the brains, you might need someone who is sales. If you're sales, you might need someone more operational.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need an accountant. You're going to need someone, technology goes out. What are you going to do? There are so many, you need people. And
Right.
if you don't have people, if you don't have a tribe, there is only so far you can go. What is that
Mm-hmm.
saying? You want to go fast, go by yourself. You want to go far, go with others.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to write
I,
that one down.
it's not mine. I'd love to take some credit for it. I think it's like an African proverb or something. But yeah, no, but I like it too, right? Like
Yeah.
and that again, I think that goes back to the core of everything that we do here at NetworkWise, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we are a relationship platform because
Yeah.
you need those relationships. They
Mm-hmm.
show up everywhere from the boardroom to the bedroom, right?
Right.
And if you want optionality in your life, you're going to need those relationships. They're going to be there
Mm.
for you.
Yeah, that's important. One thing that you talked about was, you talked about working out, and I was wondering if that's something, or if there's something else that you do consistently every day to help you pursue your passion.
Oh my God. I do a lot of things. I think that, and I think you talked about it also, you touched on it. It's funny. I ask people a lot of times when I do keynotes, I'll say, "Hey, who here controls their destiny?" And everybody raises their hand. I control my destiny. I control my destiny. And you don't. We don't. We control our habits, and it's our habits that really dictate our
Mm-hmm.
destiny. So, to answer your question, I mean, I've got a lot of habits, that I do every single day. So yes, the gym is one that I do. I have
Mm-hmm.
to. It's a non-starter to not work out every day. I
Mm-hmm.
also do something with my wife every morning. Every morning before we start our day, we have to give three things that we're grateful for, right? That's
Oh,
it
I
every
love
day.
it.
It's a non-starter. I also every day do something called text roulette. Every day, that's from my relationships. Every day I scroll to the bottom of my text, and
Mm-hmm.
it takes a while now because it's been a long time, but every morning, and then I send a text to the last person or two or three, depending on how much time that are at the bottom of my text. And I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's my doctor. I don't care if it's my plumber. I don't care if it's a
Mm-hmm.
client. And so Louise, you're in there. So you're going to get that at some point
Oh,
where you're where
great.
where you're just
Great.
going to get a random text from me where I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Hello, how are you?
Yeah.
How have you been? When was the last time
Right.
you saw Nancy? How are your
Right.
kids? Have you come back to New Jersey?" Whatever that
Right.
might be. And it's an awesome habit that tells somebody you think about them, you
Mm-hmm.
care about them, and then it's just like a really good excuse to just, have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to have to meet when I come up to New Jersey. So I'll be there this spring.
You,
So
you
we'll
should come for a
definitely,
lunch. You should
yeah,
come for one of my lunches.
definitely. So for people who can't come to New Jersey to meet with you, what are the best ways that they can connect with you online? I know your website is www.networkwise.com. That's NetWorkwise.com.
Yep,
Where
that's
else
it.
can they reach you?
They can email me directly, but if they do, please put your name on the subject line. As I'm sure you can imagine, a lot of emails come in, and
Mm-hmm.
I always, again, this is a relationship business. So
Mm-hmm.
relationships are always priority. So if somebody comes referred through somebody, they go to the top of the list, right? I mean, the trust is transferable, just like how you and I connected. We have
Mm-hmm.
so much respect and admiration for Nancy. That's all I needed to know was that you were her friend, and I'm assuming that it was the other way around. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
same with you. Easy for me to say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So our listeners can go to your website, networkwise.com. They
Yeah.
can find your email there. And because they heard about you through shaping our story, they can put in my name, Louise Krikorian, or shaping our story so that you know where they found out about you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. Can I ask
Great.
you a question before
Yes.
we go? I,
Mm-hmm.
I would I would love to know, and maybe your listeners have the same question, if you haven't shared already, was the driving force for you behind doing this?
Well, I've worked in the classroom. I've been on National Public Radio, PBS, and I'm also a documentary filmmaker. So I've won awards in those categories. And I feel that this is the biggest classroom possible.
Yeah.
And my idea has always been, since I was 17 years old, I remember wanting to hear other people's stories, and then I've wanted to share them. But what I feel most passionate about is finding out what you made work in your life so that I can share that with others to help them thrive.
It's awesome. That's great. Actually, we should have started with you. We should have started that with you. That's that question. We should have gone with you, and then I could have just gone after that. That would have been great.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I really look forward to meeting you, and I hope that you do get a lot of emails saying
Me
that
too.
our listeners have found out about you and that they can contact you so that they can become intentional networkers.
Yeah, and if they're coming through your channel, I would encourage them to um, sign up to come to a lunch that I host. It's called More Than Just a Lunch, and it's a great opportunity to have an experience that they've never had before. And I don't mean to say it cocky; it just is what it is. And
Mhm.
it'll show them what true networking is all about and how to be in a room with a really diverse group of people that they probably wouldn't have met on their own. And they're going to come in as strangers and leave as buddies.
Yes, that's very important. Yeah, because I feel like we're buddies now.
That's right, we are.
Thanks again. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you for this opportunity. Make it a great day.
Thank you, you too. Bye. Thank you for joining us at Shaping Our Story, and thanks to our guest, Adam Connors, whose ability to consistently strengthen relationships through thoughtful habits is proof that he combines his passion with perseverance. If you enjoyed this week's episode, click on follow and leave a comment to inspire us or suggest a guest. And remember, if this made you think, please share the thought with a friend. See you next time.